I can talk to you with one hand. Most scooters, I wouldn't do that. I would never even see, I've just taken my hand, I've never done that before. Hello electroheads. This is the Bo M Pro. Now it's a prototype scooter that we've got for a few hours to show you, and it's made by a company called Bo, who basically comprised of a bunch of guys who love cars. And they build cars for big car companies, and they know how to do it properly. What happens when you got proper automotive engineers building a scooter is they make something that's not just a bunch of parts from China thrown together from the discount bin. Everything in here is built to make the best scooter possible. Everything's designed from the ground up, custom components. Yeah, we're gonna ride it today and tell you a bit more about what these guys have put together. So Bo have been around for about 3 years now, and electric scooters have been developing, I say, like in the last 10 years, they've come a long way. But one of the biggest issues with scooters is everyone wants the cheapest scooter possible. And when you go for that, you end up getting random Chinese companies giving you a scooter that's comprised of a bunch of discount parts that aren't quite made for the intended purpose. The idea behind this scooter is that everything is engineered for this exact purpose. Nothing's come off a bicycle, nothing's come off a skateboard. The guys at Bo say they put time and effort into redesigning a scooter based on what they believe is the best way that they can make a scooter. And they've got some pretty good knowledge, so yeah, so far it's feeling pretty good. So what makes this scooter special? First thing is I can talk to you with one hand. Now, most scooters, I wouldn't do that. I would never even see, I've just taken my hand, I've never done that before. Why can I do that? So this scooter is developed to have proper scooter geometry. Now it's all a bit confusing when it comes to what that means, but basically the angle of everything means that the wheel wants to stay in a straight line when you're at speed. It's tracking. It's not just a little wheel on the end of a big lever, which has very little control. So what they've done is they've redesigned the geometry of this scooter so that it tracks well, so that the wheel stays straight, which gives it a much better handling. Another thing they've done is they've got a spring system inside the stem, which stabilizes the steering. So if I stop for a second, the steering comes back to center. Some scooters have dampers, which is a hydraulic system, which keeps the steering being too loose, but this is a totally different system. So it has the spring, which returns it to the center, which is also made possible by the fact that this whole stem is a chassis, and the stem actually travels within it and has a bearing up here and a bearing down there. No other scooter does that. Most scooters have two bearings down here and a big stem with the lever on the top, which from an engineering perspective is a terrible idea.
It's terrible.
So let's keep riding it and see how it goes. I've talked about the different kind of scooter markets you have out there. You generally have like the commuter on a cheap 200, 300 pound scooter, and then you have those kind of more high performance, high end racing scooters and can go up to whatever 70 miles an hour they go these days. Then there's like the mid-range scooter, which is like the Segway, and for the person who likes scooters, likes commuting, but they're a bit more serious about it. This scooter is for that section of the market. So if you're the kind of rider who likes like a cheap scooter to do the last mile runs, whether it's like a Xiaomi or something you might get under 500 quid, this is the kind of scooter you'd buy if you decided, I like this means of transport and I want something proper. Because this is still a small scooter, it's still a commuter package, but it's properly designed and it's a lot more powerful than the scooters. This has a 1200 watt motor and a 48 volt battery. Look at this. I'm fast as boy. So that was pretty quick. It's a rear hub motor and it has drum brakes on the front and regenerative on the back. Regenerative here, which is nice, and the drum brake, which is very low maintenance, works a treat. It's great that it's only a rear wheel drive because scooters don't need to be two wheel drive. It makes it a lot more efficient like this. They say that you get about 50 kilometers range on this scooter. So it's a 600 watt hour battery at 48 volts. I really like 48 volt batteries because they give a bit more punch and you can really feel that on this. And if you can get 50 kilometers of range on it, that's great because that will get me all the way across London and back. Thing is, this doesn't fold, so it's not a last mile vehicle, it's the vehicle. Like a lot of scooters, well most of them do fold with the idea that you can then chuck it in your car or then take it onto the underground, which is legal anyway. The idea is that this will get you all the way there. The scooter doesn't come with suspension, but it's got pneumatic tires which absorb quite a lot of vibration. And then you've also got this cool thing that they call the air deck. The air deck is what I'm standing on. It's the deck and it's kind of rubberized, but has air in it, hence why they call it the air deck. But that is quite nice. It's like serving as a form of suspension. It's kind of like wearing like them Nike shock shoes with air bubbles in them, but underneath your feet and on the whole scooter. And that's working quite well. I mean, if I was on terrain like this, that would just do fine. So this has got something that I haven't seen on any other scooter. It's quite a special feature. Check this out. It's a bag rack. I mean, what other scooter can you put cargo on? I think it's awesome. And like the guys who just dropped it off to us, they had a big duffel bag down here. That means, I mean, you've got like 30 miles range and you can take a bag. That really changes the game because you can take a change of clothes to work. That's so much nicer. I really like that feature. So the Bow uses a unibody design, which basically means that the whole frame is one unit. Instead of using tubed alloy or steel like most other scooter companies doing, the whole frame is basically a CNC'd alloy piece, which means it's a solid unit. It's way stronger than any other scooter is going to be because there's no welding points, and that reduces the chance for something to snap on a weak part of a joint. So, I mean, obviously you think where's going to be the weakest part of a scooter? It's going to be right there. And with this just being one piece all the way, it's very unlikely that you're going to break that. So it's quite a cool feature, which is the phone mount here, which is in partnership with Mouse, which I've just learned today is a new brand that's for mounting phones on stuff. It's really handy because it's like a magnetic system where, imagine that's the phone, just stick it on. I mean, it's very similar to what I use like the quad lock, but it just means you don't have to twist it and put it on. Oops, sorry guys, it is a prototype. I just broke the prototype. You fool. Let's put that back. So you can probably see from that angle that the stem is leaning back quite a bit. And that is a key part of geometry for bikes and scooters, which has been missing from so many scooters on the market recently. That allows tracking to happen, which basically means that when you're at speed, because of the angle of the stem, the wheel wants to stay in a straight line, which makes your ride more stable and makes it safer. Another thing they've done with the geometry to improve the ride is they've increased the wheelbase. Now that's quite a wide wheelbase for a scooter, and these two things combined make the scooter feel pretty stable. That's pretty impressive, man. I mean, after riding in the electric scooter championships, brag, I did not feel safe on any of those scooters, and carving this up, I can see why they've made these decisions on geometry. It really changes how it handles. All right, guys, this has never been done before. Check this out. Look! What? Bro, that's insane. That's insane. The steering on this is so stable, I can ride without any hands. What? Whoa! That's how good this scooter geometry is. That is amazing.
That's actually incredible. I've never seen anything like it.
No, I've never seen that done before. So I've had about 2 hours with this prototype, the M Pro from Bow, and it's been a hell of an experience. As someone who's had a love-hate relationship with scooters for the last 10 years, this thing really changes the game. You may have seen I rode this with no hands, and I don't know if anyone has done that on another scooter before, but it just shows you how stable this thing is and how well they designed the geometry. Like, this frame is awesome. I can carve it, and carving makes me happy. And if I'm not carving and I'm just riding in a straight line, I mean, there's not much use for that than getting from A to B. And I like to get from A to B in style. So, I mean, I hope the guys at Bow, I wish them the best at the rest of the development of this product. And looking at the other two scooters they showed us pictures of, these things look like they're going to be pretty incredible.
By the way, guys, if you found the Bow M of interest, I've left a link in the description for you to pre-order one. You can also check out other e-scooters over on electroheads.com, where you can use the code Moja for £50 off.
I mean, this thing is powerful. It's 1,000 watts, and there's no legislation for this in the UK, but we're all aware of that. And they have designed the scooter knowing that this is what we need in the city to get from A to B. Well, that's it from me and Cole. We're going to take the scooter back to the guys from Bow, who are just waiting for us around the corner. Pretty grateful that we got a moment to try this thing, because this is probably the most exciting scooter I've tried. And what it means for micromobility, like, this is definitely a step in the right direction. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.